Hello, welcome to the program Political Viewpoint on ASO Television. My name is Tosi Gimba, your host. Political Viewpoint is a program that comes to you 3 times in a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at about this time, where we take a holistic view into national issues and we trash them. There are times the program gives me that opportunity as well to invite people who know what they say on some of these issues and extract them for those who take time to watch us. I implore you to be with us this evening for yet another package. We are looking at it as a special production for the fact that today is International Human Rights Day. All over the world, people are observing this day because of human rights. Someone might bother to ask me, what are rights? Rights are those things that cannot be taken away from you, like, for instance, life to live, life to associate, life to believe in any form of thing you believe as God to you, life to move abroad, life to settle anywhere, life to receive education from your parents. These are rights that are quite inalienated to you. Nobody takes them away from you. But at times today, of course, people have abused that privilege. And of course, activists are taking a look into that. What are those things that we consider to be inhuman being done to man? We've been seeing that for a very long time in a society where lack of justice, and then people are punished wrongly over things probably they didn't do. It's on that basis that we decided to invite well-known people who are opinion molders in society. We have a journalist, we have a barrister. They sit very close to me. They will be looking at the menace of enforced disappearances and law enforcement, justice for the victims, and prevention. This is exactly what we'll be looking at on this particular important day that's been observed all over the world. With me in the studio is a friend that I know. We've been working as media personalities. We cover National Assembly together. He's a radio guru, and today he's with me in the studio in no any other person than Anayo Akwiti, Senate correspondent and working with Democracy Radio here in Abuja. It's a pleasure having you on the program, Anayo Akwiti.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah. Alongside Anayo, I have a luminary in the person of Barrister Ndukwe, Charles Ndukwe, representing LACRA, that is Legal Assistance Citizen Right Initiative. It's a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you, Topsy. Good evening, viewers.
Yeah, from the background of what you know basically what we have to discuss this evening, without taking much of your time, let me just open the floor by really talking to my friend Anayo. Basically, with this particular day that is called Human Rights Day, what are you thinking about that?
Well, like you stated in the intro, Human Rights Day has to do with the right of humans, how they live, how they interact, how they do business, basically how they conduct themselves. And it is for this reason that organizations like the UN set aside days like this to take a look at humanity, if you like, and then because without humans, I mean, there's really nothing to do. So these humans have to be protected. Their rights have to be, made protected. And without these rights, and when these rights are taken away, it becomes like an animal society, dog-eat-dog society. So I think there's the need to harmonize these rights and make life livable for humans. It's why days like this are recognized and opened up for, recognition, so that people will take a look at what actually belongs to them. These rights, there are several of them, but I think it reminds us that as humans, we have to be on the right track and we have rights.
Good. Well, Barrister Ndukwe, Charles Ndukwe, when somebody asks you and say, who is a legal assistant? And that means there's something wrong when it comes to having to do with legal approach on human rights issues. That for the fact that you have a group of persons who consider themselves defending human rights, and that means there's something wrong. Then who is this person?
Okay. This person now is LACRI. That's Legal Assistance and Citizens' Rights Initiative.
Yes.
Yes, like you rightly observed, this organization wouldn't have existed if not for the fact that there is a vacuum. There is the need for the protection of human rights and the observance of human rights. So LACRI came in to cure this, let me call it malady, and LACRI is a non-governmental organization that was formally registered in 2010 with the Corporate Affairs Commission with the purpose of offering legal assistance, free legal assistance, what the lawyers call pro bono, to persons who are suffering one form of injustice or the other, but cannot afford legal representation. Some of them may not even know that they need legal representation.
Okay.
Yes, and LACRI is also an advocacy organization. We advocate for
Some don't even know.
Yes, somebody may need legal assistance, but maybe
But he doesn't know.
He doesn't even know. Yes.
Is it lack of proper awareness or what? Or probably the person is not educated?
We have it there. Maybe the person is not educated, maybe the person is not educated in the legal sense. The person doesn't have that enlightenment in the legal sense. He may be educated, but he may not know that my right has been infringed upon, or that, yes, he may even know that he's suffering some form of oppression, but he might not know that there's a remedy.
Okay.
Yes, he might just give up or say, well, that is how it is, that is how life is. I leave it to God.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
I will still get back to you to know basically, besides this, what do you do? But let me get back to Anayo, a very sound journalist for that matter, a broadcaster. Anayo, if you look at today in the society, we have the rich and the law.
Yeah.
Do they commune together? And if they do, are those things that are considered, are they really properly being taken care of when they commune? Like for instance, I see you as a highly placed more than myself. If I come to you,
Yeah.
do you mingle with me easily? Are there things that you're actually not doing right that will consider to be taking my right away from me?
Well, more often than not, that happens, and the rich usually are more pronounced, you know, in assessing maybe the legal systems. I mean, so but when for instance, if what you mean is by if the poor, for instance, tries to commune with
the rich,
yeah.
Is it possible that they will end well?
Usually they don't, because first and foremost, the poor has already is suffering what I call inferiority complex. When he gets to that point, he already feels out, you know, moderate and not in the class of that rich person. And the law, as it is, should protect the poor person, and but you can't take away that feeling from that poor person and say, okay, because I'm not on this state, it becomes a setback for him. So he goes away with the feeling that he's not getting enough and that he's being sidelined.
Is it possible, Barrister, is it possible that a rich man might use the poor man to circumvent the law? For instance, he must have committed a crime, a very grievous one for that matter, and probably to get away with it is to ask someone to appear to defend him, though unknowingly or knowingly, that what he has done is wrong, or either the person defending or standing to speak on his behalf like a witness must have been paid, and he jeopardizes the system to allow it to happen that way. Does it happen today in our society as we see it?
Yes, the rich man, in our society today, some rich men can use the poor men to escape punishment for crimes, if that is what you mean. Yes, it happens, yes. Even in committing the crimes, some rich men use the poor as to front them as cover and hide behind them. It's just like when you come to drug-related offenses, where you see that the kingpin is a drug lord in his community, but the small one that he sends on messages to go and deliver the drugs is the one who is eventually caught by the authorities and who faces the wrath of the law, whereas the kingpin thrives and escapes the punishment under our criminal justice system. Yes.
Does it really happen, or just?
It has happened several. Like, we have seen many cases, live cases, in the courts where it happened. Okay. Yes, it has happened severally, and even sometimes the judge will pronounce that he knows the authorities have not been able to get the main person, the kingpin. Yes, and maybe that will make the judge exercise some kind of restraint in passing, in giving the full sentencing, given the circumstances of the case anyway. Yes, it happens that the rich man also misinforms the poor. It is a major, let me call it, tragedy in our society today that retards this, our Nigerian society. Some rich men misinform the poor about the position of the law. That, let me give an instance. In electoral, some rich men actually commit electoral offenses using the poor men and even directly involved, either directly involved or as accomplices. And when it is time for the state authorities to go after them in one way or the other, they also rally these same poor people to come and say it is because of he's from this place, or because he's from this religion, or because he's from this state, or he's just been oppressed because of this statement he made last year or 2 years ago against this person. You see the poor man say it's because of his personal, the personal issue he's having with this other person in the authority or in government. That is why they are persecuting him, this, that. But the fact is that the rich man committed an electoral offense, committed an offense under our criminal justice system. Even to the extent that even the rich men in political offices that embezzled state funds, funds meant for their state, funds that they would have used to develop the state, and then they are apprehended by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission or any of these law enforcement agents, and they are facing trial for this. The same people of that state whom they deprived of, or whom this politician deprived of development by embezzling this fund, rally around, assemble, come in lorries, trucks, and say they are coming for solidarity for the same rich person. So you see that trying to paint the rich person like he's a saint, he's a messiah. So you see that it is actually due to ignorance and misinformation. So even the poor needs enlightenment. Yes. Wow.
You listen to what Barrister Ndukwe said. If it does occur like the way he has just painted it, what happens to the law enforcement agent? Is it like the society is so porous to that extent that even that the person who is considered to be a seemingly a victimized person doesn't seem to be getting justice at the end of it? At the end of it all, looking at the way he
like he said, you see cases where even the poor person voluntarily, deliberately volunteer, want to take the place of the alleged suspect. Yeah. It has happened. We don't want to start giving instances, but maybe due to poverty, due to the fact that the poor person might feel that, well, if he does this, he will get some favors from the rich person. That's following what Barrister said. But the law more often than not, the law enforcement agents are aware that, for instance, this man who's fronting is not actually the person we're looking for.
He will compromise the system.
Yes, because also the law enforcement agents themselves do come under pressure for wanting to have a suspect at a particular point in time. You remember, people want to see this crime has been committed. Who is the suspect? So in the speed to present someone, you find them quickly grabbing that volunteer, so to speak, and presenting him to the public and say, look, for now, this is the person we have. If investigation continues, we'll probably come across other... yes, they are complicit. They know. Most times, those you see, we see it during parade of criminals. You see people come up today, tomorrow the case is no longer there and the man is no longer there. Yes. So voluntarily, maybe for want of having to get released, and at times the security agencies also tutor others, tutor some of these people. I'm talking about the bad ones now. tutor some of these people how to
handle some of these issues.
Yes, tutor them. This is what you say. Let's have you say this.
You coach them through.
Yes, so that tomorrow you go back home. It happened to someone I know, and that was a long time ago. Let's have you in front of the cameras. Let's put some arms and guns before you. Don't worry, you're not the one, but let's look good before the public. Tomorrow you can go. It happened, yes, and I was a witness. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine
yes,
that?
I will even add that even in the law courts, we have seen cases where the law enforcement agents bringing somebody, one of such suspects that they have caught, knowing that he may not be culpable for that particular offense that is being arraigned. But they tell you just plead guilty.
Yeah.
You have already finished serving the sentence. You have served 2 years. They will just free you, maybe give you 1 year. We've already arranged it. They'll give you 1 year, they give you 2 years. You just go from
the
there.
popular
yes.
Gloria Okon during Babangida era. You remember?
Yes, who was met in London.
To be a drug baron or whatever.
We never heard from her any longer. And the Gloria Cone disappeared into thin air.
Yes.
And the one who allegedly saw her somewhere paid the high price, you know, and that the story ends.
So that is it. They just tell the suspect, plead guilty, and you go from there. And he will believe them because he is not enlightened, he doesn't know the system. He will go there and plead guilty. And so we also see some very meticulous judges, even after the suspect has pleaded guilty, and ask the suspect, were you coerced or were you promised anything for pleading guilty? Just to know if the suspect will open up and say, yes, I was told. Yes, it has actually happened. The judges know why they do that, but do not all.
Can there be disappearances in some of these cases? In those acts like that, can that lead to disappearances of individuals? Yes. Either cautiously or consciously as a result?
Yeah, I would take the case of late Dora Conelly, when he had a problem with the assassination attempt then. And there were so many witnesses. I covered that story. When you get to the court, there are so many witnesses. So on my way to UTC here in Abuja, I went into one of the witnesses, the witnesses, and I said, you were in the court. He told me, he said, look, you didn't see me there. But I said, you were testifying before the court in Wuse Zone 5 that you were in Onitsha and that you knew about the plot to assassinate the then DG of NAFDAC. And he said that he was actually ordering food. So I said, look, that was when I live in Abuja. I said, so you have not gone to, he said, look, please, let's talk about that. So at times it could be state-sponsored. Yeah, just to, especially when the case is a celebrated one. So the state also want to look good before the people and say, look, we're doing very well, we're doing very well.
Are there things that you people do in last week today, aside from knowing what you are, and then, you know, doing what you should do to ensure that you mentioned that people who are ignorant of this right, that they can seek help without really paying. What else again do you do far more than this?
Okay.
As a lawyer.
In Lacri, we do aside legal assistance to persons, deserving persons, which also could be on the side of either the defense or the prosecution too. Because if it's somebody that is being oppressed by state agents, maybe by way of malicious prosecution or unnecessary harassment, we can come in as on the defense aspect.
Okay.
But if it's also somebody that is deserving of prosecution, but because of his status in the society or because of the lapse in the system, nobody is bordering on prosecution. We can be on the side of aiding the prosecution of that person and even helping the prosecutor or the prosecutorial team to make sure that justice is also. So it depends on the side where justice is. That is where you find us. We're not just about defending too. Then talking about advocacy, we are strongly advocating for judicial reforms.
Okay.
Yes. And we are strongly advocating for judicial reforms every day. You and I know that it's high time Nigeria introduced judicial reforms into this system, infuse it, implement it. Yes, we are complaining about the judiciary every day. So now, secondly, we also are looking for further reforms in the administration of criminal justice system. we know that we've already achieved some degree of success in terms of introducing the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which is fair enough. But we think more also has to be done. Then generally, we want to ensure a free and egalitarian society for all Nigerians. Yes, and then prison reforms, very, very important. Prison reforms. Our correctional centers, like we say now, is no longer prisons. Our custodial centers are congested. Why don't we have some minor offenses that are non-custodial? Why must everybody be sent to prison? So LACRI is advocating for this. Let some offenses, some simple offenses, have punishment or sentences that are non-custodial. Yes, like we see in other advanced societies, since we don't have enough prisons, and also to also help in the development of the community, the society, where these crimes are committed. So we also do prison decongestion projects in terms of free legal services to deserving inmates who cannot afford that, and also we've been able to pay some fines and compensation for prison inmates many times, and the most recent one being the Suleja prisons, which happened just within the last 2 weeks, that we've spent over ₦1 million trying to and succeeded in freeing about 5 inmates of the Suleja Correctional Center, and also tried to procure food for the babies of the inmates who have their children.
Okay, inside.
Yes, and you know, because of the condition, they may not be lactating, their mothers may not be lactating very well.
Yeah.
So we spent money on all these and also providing necessaries for some of the inmates, and even to the extent of also helping the prison staff to have a shade under them where they do their security. So it's just about a fair and egalitarian society. Prison welfare, prison decongestion is at the heart of LACRI.
Wow.
So these are some of the
things
that
you do.
We do.
Oh,
Yes.
That's very interesting. And I acquit you are an on-air personality with Democracy Radio. When somebody listens and hears about you working with democracy, thinks about freedom.
Yeah.
And today it's like when we talk about human rights, it then means about freedom. Basically, what does that day mean to you, being a presenter in a radio set aside with the name Democracy Radio?
Yes, let me begin by saying that I've heard people saying, yes, you are working for Democracy Radio. They'll throw the question to me and say, look, okay, how democratic is the country we're in? And I usually tell them that democracy exists. It is the practicality that is the problem. It is a structure that can be used, but if you relinquish it and go for another style of governance, it is at your own detriment. So, as someone on air, you speak about human rights. You speak about just recently the rights of women came to the fore. That's the gender-based violence. It actually 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. So you talk about democracy is a right. I mean the right of people to either choose a government or take part in talking about the government that they're under. So if as someone who's talking about democracy every day, I see the rights of people coming to the front burner. More often than not, they will say, okay, do we really practice democracy? What we're saying, is it democratic? And can Nigerians tap their chest and say, look, we're in a democracy? Well, and you just sit back and take all of this. But I think it is not all bad stories.
Yeah, sure.
It's not all bad stories. So we can. It's not like 1996. It's not like 1997. Where we are today, we can say yes, we are not badly off. We can do more, even though we need to do more work. So, yes.
Are there more rights in a democratic setting than any other form of government?
Yeah, of course. Yes, it's even better than even the monarchy. I mean, there are more rights in democratic setting. Whether those in charge want to allow people access those rights is a different thing.
Yeah.
Whether the people themselves want to take their rights is a different thing altogether. So it's between those in governance and the people to agree that, well, don't infringe on our rights, and we'll do our part. So they can, and we like I said, back in the days during the military era, probably we wouldn't be here talking the way we are talking.
Sure.
And you maybe would have come through one of the local routes to arrive at ASO Radio, and on your way back you begin to look over your back to see if you're being tailed. So we're not badly off, and I want to stand. I say that is the way it is.
To what extent covering National Assembly gives you that privilege in handling some of the issues on Democracy Radio, as a matter of fact? Because I think they work hand in hand. Sort of.
Yeah, they do. And first, you know, there's a challenge. As someone who works for a radio known as Democracy Radio, are you not going to discuss issues, burning issues? No, we have to, because all we do, you bridge the gap between the people and the government, and that's exactly what we should do as on a personality. Let the people talk, educate them where there's need for education. For instance, I'll give you an instance. You and I at the National Assembly. Yeah. Some Nigerians think that over 460 members of the National Assembly take 150 billion annually from the budget.
Yeah.
They forget that under the National Assembly there are 6 departments.
Yeah.
There's a National Assembly Service Commission.
Sure.
And you need to educate them, because if not, they'll go away with the feeling, look, this 460 million, it's all about money. so there's a lot. And these people come with aids, and there are monies to be paid, people are working at their pay. So that's the education we do. You don't have to run away from it. Let people talk. Yes, as one who's handling a program, for instance, on democracy, the people will talk, but correct it. Allow them to speak their mind when they have to.
And then you moderate.
You moderate.
Yeah. Okay, that's very nice. Let me get back to Barrister Ndukwe, Charles Ndukwe. Let's talk about the funding aspect of this last serial, or how is it called? Legal Assistance Citizens' Right Initiative. How do you get your funding? Are you enjoying the funding from government or associations that are considered to be non-governmental that give you the support to do what you should do? Because there are so many people today that they need justice, who in one way or the other have been infringed by those who are either higher than them in the position or whatever. So if that considered to be one of the things you do, how do you then get your funding to ensure that you remain consistent throughout the year?
Okay. LACRI is not being funded by the government or any government. So we don't enjoy any funding from the government. But the truth is that LACRI as an NGO is constituted by many individuals of like mind in their personal capacity as members of LACRI. And so because of the strong desire to achieve the objectives of LACRI, they are willing to always make their voluntary contribution for the sake of humanity, for what we do. So that's, so far, that's how LACRI has been sustained, yes. And maybe in the future we hope that we will get financial assistance from every other, maybe not government, but some other bigger organizations that share similar objectives with us. Because you know the problem with funding from the government is that it is the same government that we are like a watchdog over.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't fund you mean? So basically, how do you create this awareness? Because like, I'm just taking you back to what you said on this program. What do you do now that today is being considered International Human Rights Day? Going forward, tomorrow, next tomorrow, until probably a week or a month, what do you do to reconscientize the minds of Nigerians that they can seek help when they are infringed in one way or the other?
Yes, like today we have mentioned the aspect of the prison reforms, prison decongestion, and prison welfare. Then talking about Nigerians seeking help, LACRI has a social media outlet. We even have a website.
Wow.
Yes, so anybody who is computer literate that can go online will see us online. We even see our objectives, what we do, what we stand for.
Whatever.
No, is LACRI LACRI dash
okay,
ng.org.
Oh, okay.
That's our website.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So now anybody who can go online will see us on our website, but you will also see our posts on Twitter, on Instagram, and some of these major social media. Yes, so we are always vocal. We talk. So that is one. But you might also be wondering how we reach out to those who are not.
Are you all lawyers?
No, we are not all lawyers. So we have many lawyers.
Like Anna, who is democratic in principle.
Though we have many lawyers among us, we are not all lawyers.
Okay.
What brings us together is that common objective. Yes.
Do you have some associations that give you backing, that standing behind and pushing you to go forward in achieving what you should achieve, as a matter of fact?
Once in a while, we have partnership. We do partner with some for some of our projects, similar associations, yes, with some of our projects.
Okay.
But it doesn't often happen. But we do it just like every other NGO.
Yeah.
Yes, we do it. Yes.
Anna Akwiti, Senate correspondent, Democracy Radio Abuja. Having a very big platform like yours, what are the things you are likely going to do? Looking at this day to be so special, as a matter of fact, I should have expected this particular day ought to have been drummed from beginning to where we are today, being the D-Day, and going forward tomorrow, because it's very believed, it is very common that indeed most people don't even know how to assess their rights. And until when we speak, using platforms like this, that they will get to know basically what they need to do, and they're seeking the rights they need to seek, and they stay free in the society, and knowing their rights, where it starts and where it ends.
Well, the truth is that so many Nigerians feel that advocacy for rights remain just for civil society people. Some have come to the point of thinking that there's nothing about nothing human rights, it doesn't affect them as the Nigerians. But I like what LACRI is doing. There's need for people to be educated, so that it doesn't look like, advocacy for rights belongs to groups, civil society groups. It is people, maybe out of fear or out of intimidation over the years. People feel, look, should I go talk about my rights? Won't I get docked if I go complain that someone did this to me? So for fear of the uncertainty, you see people just sitting back and say, okay, well, rights, let's leave it for advocacy groups like LACRI. Even to come over to report cases of denial of rights is a problem to some.
Especially in society that appears to be like, I wouldn't say, well, there's some developing countries like Nigeria, for instance.
Yes.
Where human beings are not treated as human beings.
Yes, the fear. Okay, if
after all, you are faced with so many challenges in your home, and somebody cheats you and he goes away with it. And now you look at yourself, if I want to approach this person to seek for this, for a dress, how do I start?
Do I have the money? Do I even have the, won't I become the intimidating person
at the end of the day?
Yes, so people, most often that people resort to prayers and then telling their pastors their problem, and then so perpetrators get away. Away with it. I said, look at your neighbors. Why are you going out there to complain? Why not just for that? Are you not satisfied that you didn't get killed? So the advocacy has not stopped. Even today is 10th, but it's a normal thing. Yeah. People should keep talking about it. After now, Mr. Charles and I were trying to continue this advocacy. Yes, it's not a one-day thing, even though the UN has set aside today for it. It's something that has to be, people need to be educated, people need to know their rights. But if you don't, there are electoral rights, it affects electoral rights. Where people say, I don't want to go there, it's their problem. So whatever the outcome is their problem. But at the end of the day, the outcome affects you as a citizen of Nigeria. So it's a continuous thing, and I want to thank Lackery and others who are doing what Lackery is doing to continue, especially. You see, when we say use the media, we're not asking for too much. We're not asking for the impossible. The media is that vehicle that can be used to educate people on the need to know their rights and see that as a right. You don't have to go through the Constitution to know your rights, but you need to be at least know the basic things so that you can talk yourself out of trouble. And yeah.
Honestly, but it's like to eat is a right.
To eat. Yes.
Like for instance, maybe like the way I sit down, somebody provides food for me. Or let's take in an organized society that a form of government that is believed that takes care of you, at the end of the day doesn't.
Yes.
And can that form of government be seen to be a right to a citizen who at the end has entrusted himself to the government to govern, and at the end of the day he does not see what he's supposed to get? Can that be seen as a right?
When the citizens cannot eat, it is a colossal failure of governance. Because to eat, to feed, is
a right.
Is a basic right. Yes. Because if you remember when they said the 3 basic needs of man, I think the first one is food.
Food.
Yes.
Shelter.
So you don't even need to express it, get it written in the Constitution.
Okay.
For us to know that it is basic, it goes without saying. Because man must eat for him to even exist. It has a direct bearing. It is the basics of existence, feeding. So that is why deprivation of food, whether for any reason, cannot even be used as a means of punishment, because it is a basic right. That means you are depriving life anyway. So to eat is a right. Yes, it is a right. It is where existence starts.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there secondary reasons that can inhibit an individual to have his right?
Yeah.
Insecurity, bad weather, many other things.
Yes, I just mentioned poverty, lack of knowledge. I mean, lack of knowledge of your right is a big inhibition. Considering your rights as is for them, not me, could also be a very big inhibition. Saying fighting for your rights means disobedience also can be a problem. Yeah, because some people think that if I go asking to fight for my rights, I'll be seen as a protester. I'll be seen as a. But there are ways you can do this peacefully. You know, there are ways you can go for your right. Actually, okay, for instance, your right to free speech. I mean, yes, free association. Free expression. I mean, expression. But some people, out of fear or out of what I call peer pressure, are you going to be the one to talk? Why not just keep quiet? You know, that's coming from people very close to you. If you say anything now, you'll be treated in this particular way. So it makes people shrink from expressing their and then okay, for instance, if there's a peaceful protest, you know, usually peaceful protests here are described as treated like violent protest.
Any other one.
So if there's a peaceful protest, people say, are you the one to go out? Should you be the one going out there? But these are the same people who talk about non-provision of food by the government, like Mr. Charles. Yeah, but you see them back home talking at the height of their voices. But when it's time to go and say, look, we are even hungry, no one turns up. You know, so I'm not saying that there is a way you can put across these things in manners that show that you also understand our rights. You don't need to have to start burning tires and throwing stones for you to put across this message. There's where you can quietly, peacefully, and responsibly put across this thing. But how many of us are doing that?
Wow. In all of this menace, barrister, how can those be prevented? The menace that we see today happening in the society that concern to the injustice done to humanity, clearly, how can that be prevented going forward?
Okay, you know, let me particularize this menace.
Yeah.
Let's take this issue of enforced disappearance, for example.
Yes, forced disappearance.
Yes. is very, very common in our Nigeria of today. We have many cases of forced disappearance, and families are grieving. Sometimes they have mourned the person, believing the person is dead. Sometimes they have engaged human rights organizations like LACRI, Amnesty International, and all that to see if something can come out of it. So now, when this happens, we now ask ourselves, is this how the society is designed to be? No. Government or the people that hold political offices are there holding it in trust for the entire citizens and must hold it according to law. Even in terms of law enforcement, there are rules for arrest, rules or laws for detention. Even when the person is detained, there are laws for the treatment of the person that you detained. There are laws concerning arraigning the person in court. In fact, holding a political office should be about strict adherence to the laws, because for every subject there is a law for it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a personal office.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, so the prevention of these human rights abuses, especially, like I said, enforced disappearances, hinges on the political will. I can tell you that in terms of legislation, we already have enough legislation, enough laws to stop this, to prevent it. We are safe in that respect. The Nigerian Constitution, section 34, 35, 36. In fact, when you read these sections, you know that enforced disappearances have no place in our laws. When you talk of the United Nations Convention on the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, which Nigeria is a signatory, has even ratified. Nigeria was among the first signatories to that convention. You will see that there is no room for enforced disappearance. But unfortunately, the UN Committee on Enforced Disappearance lamented last year that Nigeria did not submit any reports to the committee on the statistics or the information concerning prosecution of persons for enforced disappearances, investigation of cases of enforced disappearances, or justice for the victims of enforced disappearances. Nigeria did not give any data to this committee on this. With all these cases of enforced disappearance that we are having in Nigeria. So it is very, 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 very appalling.
Very appalling.
Yes. So
well, time is not on our side.
So yes. So in terms of prevention, we can do something.
Okay.
We can say that why would a policeman come to make an arrest in Mufti? Mufti is only for law enforcement agents who are gathering intelligence. They are not going for arrest. They are gathering intelligence. So in order to protect themselves from attack when they are gathering intelligence, they can wear Mufti. But when a law enforcement agent or law enforcement agent set out to make arrests, they should wear their uniform with their name tags,
properly identified,
so that they must adhere to the law. So that if somebody comes and says he went to the police formation that you asked him to come to for his family member, and the police formation says he's no longer there, he can at least say it was Sergeant so that came. And so
our house.
You understand? These are the essence of wearing uniform.
Oh, gentlemen, time is not there for us, really.
Yeah.
And then I even want to say one more.
I wouldn't mind.
Administration of Criminal Justice Act says that judges should visit detention facilities once every month to check the persons in the detention facility. They should be granted unrestricted access to detention facility, whether it's DSS, military, whether it's police, or that where persons are detained. And for the purposes of interviewing those detainees and making sure that there are no cases of unjustified detention or enforced disappearances. Yes.
Just like you said, the time is time is not outside. But I want to throw the line of Vice Charles.
Of course.
Yes, such things shouldn't. There should be a way to curtail enforced disappearances. But talking about judges visiting decision centers, that's what the law says. But what are we having today? Do they have the time? So, but going forward, I mean, agencies like groups like yours can do more, can raise the knowledge.
Gentlemen, I really enjoy speaking with you. I most appreciate you for being part of this program, Political Viewpoint, on ASO Television. We are viewed all over the world using www.asoradio.com.ng. You watch us. We're on Facebook. You click ASO Radio TV, you watch us. We are on Star Times 127 and other social platforms using your smartphone or iPhone. I appreciate you for being part of this program this evening. And I am my good friend.
Thank you so much, Topsy, and
thanks
to our viewers.
Yes, we have come to the end of the program, Political Viewpoint. Well, that's how far we can go. My guests were Barrister Ndukwe, Charles Ndukwe, who is representing La Siri. I have my friend Anayo Akwiti, Senate correspondent, Democracy Radio. They all spoke to us on issues that are quite germane on human rights. I appreciate everybody that took time to watch us. My name again is Topsy Gima. So do the program again tomorrow. Do have a very lovely time. News comes your way at 7 o'clock. Stay tuned and don't go away. Bye-bye.